Hey Matt, on last week you talked about you wanted to see more out of the offense. 23 runs over 3 games. Looks like they might have listened a little bit.
We did a better job offensively. Still in game one, we left a lot of base runners on base, did not execute very well, and really was pretty fortunate to win that game. I didn't think we played well offensively, but then obviously game two, it's you saw the panhandle weather this weekend. All 3 days were completely different, and we were able to win in all three conditions, which is something that's huge here. I mean, a lot of people always tell me, why don't I recruit big physical guys? The wind always blows out, all that kind of stuff. It's not true. Sunday was the perfect example of that. I mean, you couldn't hit a ball out of our yard that day, and I thought, Keone Gibbons and all of our smaller guys that can run and cause havoc did an outstanding job on Sunday on a really tough day to go win a ball game, especially after the day before when the ball's flying out like crazy. To be able to adjust our swings and do the things that we needed to do from one day to the next was huge for us. I was really proud of our offense that, especially on Sunday, being able to manufacture runs a lot better. I mean, Reese Patterson, he didn't have anything to show for it, but he did what we expect him to do. We put on some sack fronts, and instead of doing the sacks, he pulled back with some slashes, hit it on the ground. They made plays on him, but that's what we teach our guys to do, and it's good to see those things, that our guys are learning those things. Even if they wasn't successful that day, it's good to see that, we're getting better in that area.
How important was it for Keone? Because you guys said that you had to talk with him for him to lead off the game, get a hit, steal 2 bags, and then get a home run second.
Yeah, Keone was huge that game. Game 3, again, he obviously Kyle Moose got the sack fly, but it was a short ball hit to left field, and after he had already stolen second, stolen third, and then really nobody else probably is tagging up in that situation, was able to get that one run to tie it back up, and then I believe it was in the 3rd or 4th inning. He got a walk, a huge walk, and then it was a pass ball, and he goes from home to second, and then also had a pass ball on the next guy up, and he goes from second to home and scores. And you don't see that very often in one inning. He can he's a difference maker on the bases. The trick with him is to keep him focused on what he's best at, and that's hitting on hard line drives, hitting it on the ground, and using his speed, and him not trying to hit home runs.
Coach, have you kind of settled in on more who you're looking at to fill that closer role? It seems like you guys got Carter Brown, Mitchell Miller, Garrett Cobb, who are kind of getting those late inning works.
No, honestly, we lost a lot of bullpen guys from last year. We're still looking at some different things. Obviously now with us going into the 4-game set, we've got to figure out who that 4 starter is going to be. Carter Brown is obviously that guy early on that we kind of expected it to be. He's really good. His stuff is electric. He's 90, 92, and 82, 83 mile an hour slider. So we've got really good stuff there. But man, it was nice seeing him, being able to close with him as well in game 3. But Garrett Cobb's, he struggled a little bit in game 1, but he's a guy that we feel like can still fill that role. He's done it before in the past. I think that's a role that fits him pretty well, and that may be what we do. Obviously, Mitchell Miller, I thought he came out of the pen 2 games, game 1 and game 3, did a good job with us, but he's got to throw more strikes and be more consistent. He knows that, but we like our bullpen. They did a great job again this weekend, and there's still guys like Cooper Harris, Mark Marias, Justin Zamora that we hadn't even seen yet, that we expect big things out of those guys. Those guys, we're going to have to rely on those guys down the stretch. When we're getting to a 4-game set, it's usually, you got to have a lot of pitching to get through 4 games, and I think that we do have the pitching to get through those amount of games. So hopefully they'll start stepping up in the next few weekends.
Zach Dixon got into a little bit of trouble. I think it was the top of the 2nd on Saturday, but he only ended up giving up 2 runs. How do you think he responded?
He was dominant. When the wind's blowing out 35, 40 miles an hour, if you can only give up 2 runs, and that's you just tip your cap to him. He was really good. Probably one of the best outings I've seen out of him. Just because, listen, it's tough to pitch out here when the wind's blowing out 35, 40 miles an hour, and he was able to keep them off balance. And I know St. Edward's record right now is not great, but that is a really good club. They're going to win a lot of ball games this year, and for us to be able to find a way to sweep them was huge. Obviously, we're usually pretty good at home, but our pitching, they did a really good job this week, and all of our starters, really from Matthew on Friday to Todd on Sunday, did a great job, and our bullpen came in and did what they needed to do as well. And I mean, Chandler Dean, I hadn't even mentioned him, but man, he was outstanding on Friday. Gave us a chance to win in extra innings, and without him coming in and stopping the bleeding, I believe in the 9th inning, we wouldn't have won that game. So that was a huge stop for Chandler.
It was kind of a blowout on Saturday, but there was one point in the 4th inning where Keon Gibbons hit a double to left center, out by a mile at third, trying to stretch to a triple. Didn't you guys give the call for him to go ahead and round second? Or was
No,
that
that's on him. I mean, listen, we expect our guys to be baseball players. The ball's in front of him at that point in time. He can see the field just as well as we can see the field. He knows their outfield arms. You'll never see our third base coach sending a guy or stopping a guy in that situation. The only time we will ever do that is if the play is behind him. It was really good, but you say it was a blowout. 14-2 with the wind blowing out 40 miles an hour. I never felt comfortable. I know it looks like the scoreboard looks like it was a blowout, but listen, 5-6 runs in those conditions, that's easy to put up. A walk, a flare, another walk, and then a grand slam, and they're right back in that game. That's why we brought in Carter in that game, because I didn't want to go any farther. And Coach Hall and I talked about it this morning. We never felt comfortable in that game, and I will never feel comfortable when the wind's blowing out 40 miles an hour in the Panhandle.
So you just mentioned that your third base coach will never, I guess, stop a guy at second. Even in a close game where it's a 1-run game and base hit ties the game up when a guy's at second, would you still?
Yeah, I mean that's on them. That's a play that is on the base, on Keone in that situation. But all of our base runners, we teach them if the play's in front of them, we expect them to be baseball smart enough to realize that. They should know that if it's nobody out in that situation, we don't want to make the first or third out at third base. That's the stuff that we talk about in practice all the time. I think in that situation there was one out, I believe, and he hit that double. That's a time when he felt like he could make it. Obviously they had to catch and throw and make all the plays, and they did everything they needed to do there. But yeah, I mean that's a situation where we expect our guys to be baseball players and smart enough at the game to know when to go and when to stay.
Looking at your schedule, your first 2 series are 3 games, which you talked about earlier, then the rest are 4 games. Was that just by design or what?
Yeah, NCAA Division II, we're only allowed 50 games. So in order to play everybody, obviously if we played those first 2 weekends were 4-game sets as well, it'd be 52 games would be over the limit. So it's just kind of the way that it's set up. Usually you go the 3 games at the first of the year because your pitching's can't go as deep and everybody's not quite as ready for that 4-game set.
So you guys headed to St. Mary's this week. What do you know about them?
They're tough. They return a lot of guys from last year. Obviously, they're playing really well right now. They went on the road to Lubbock Christian and took 2 out of 3 this past weekend. I think they're 5-1 right now. They're a big physical team, got good pitching. They're well coached. Coach Meagle's done an unbelievable job down there. It's a great place to go and play. We went there last year. Their facilities are second to none in Division II. Man, it's a great atmosphere down there. Our guys, I think, will enjoy it. Hopefully we'll get some nice weather. Hopefully we'll be able to get outside the next couple of days. Not looking promising right now, but if not, we'll be able to go in the indoor, which we're fortunate to have here.
We talked about your batting and your pitching. How'd you think defense was? I got a couple highlights of you guys making. I think Darius had a diving play, left field.
I thought we played solid defensively this weekend. We made a couple errors and a couple plays that wasn't counted errors, but that our left fielder in Game 3 missed a ball that should have been caught. A ball goes under our third baseman in Game 1, I believe it was, that cost us a run. That's not necessarily an error, I guess. Again, we need to clean up some stuff, but all in all, I'd probably give it a B-, C+, somewhere around in there if you're looking for a grade. There you go.
Thank you very much.
What would the offensive grade be?
Still, it was better than last week, but I'd probably give it a C+, B. I still think we can be a lot better. Our middle of the order is not doing anything right now. Really, and those guys, they can really hit. They just got to get confident again. They lost some of that confidence in the first weekend and still haven't gotten it back. But I think by the end of the year, this team's got a chance to be really good offensively.